Dear boomers, I am taking another path away, a little bit away from Rumi. Let's say we're going to put Rumi on pause and talk about Wayne Dyer's book. And I don't know if I'm sure many people know about Wayne Dyer, but he wrote this wonderful book years ago called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, The Wisdom of the Tao Te Ching. Last night, I was listening to one of his public radio or public broadcasting sessions on this book. And he wrote this book and he went into deep contemplation and solitude as he examined every verse in the Tao Te Ching. And, Wayne Dyer has always been one of my favorites. And I actually one time had a radio show where I interviewed his daughter, Serena, after Wayne's death. And the whole idea of that particular radio show had to do with how the family is contacting Wayne after his passing. And she mentioned things that little things that happened, besides cardinals and butterflies, things that were more meaningful specifically for his family and his children, of which he has 8 children. Um, so I was thinking about going through this book and doing verses from the Tao Te Ching and basing it for my group here, boomers and seniors. So the mystery is the doorway, is the first verse. First is the verse number 1. The mystery is the doorway. And like I said, I'm going to do this every day for about 80 days, and it's going to be kind of deep, inspiring for our generation. As we slow down, we need to create sanctuaries in our home. We need to slow down. We need to have daily walks. We need to communicate with our friends and our relatives and our pets, my dogs. So, day 1 of our journey through the Tao Te Ching. It's a timeless text filled with wisdom, filled with mystery and calm. And as you know, I am Kate Loving Shank. You may not know that. And I am creator of the Dear Boomers community. And you can click on that link in the description. So together, we're going to walk and breathe and reflect through the verses of this ancient book day by day. Now, this isn't just a reading. It is a soul conversation. Today's verse, the very first, begins with a paradox. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. So let us pause there a minute. How many times in our lives have we tried to define ourselves? I was a nurse for 40 years. I did define myself as a nurse. I did define myself as a spouse to my wonderful husband who passed. And I did define myself as a friend and a helper. But the moment we try to name ourselves, we risk boxing ourselves outside the infinite. We are defining ourselves in very, very limited ways and within very strict boundaries. Now, in this phase of our lives, our third act, as they say, what if we allowed ourselves to be nameless again? What if we returned to something more essential, more spacious, more free? The Tao is both named and nameless. As nameless, it is the origin of all things. As named, it is the mother of 10,000 things. So let's think about that a minute as we go through here. Um, wouldn't it be great to be nameless again, to return to something essential, more spacious, more free? So As nameless, it is the origin of all things, but when it is named, it is the mother of only 10,000 things. The Tao tells us there is power in both being unformed and being formed. And that doesn't mean that what that means, we are formed, we are in a form. We're in our body. We see physical objects as being very solid, but in actuality, all of the things that we see are pure energy. We are pure energy. When we concentrate on our formlessness, we are both, we get into the nameless. So the Tao tells us that there's power in both being unformed and formed. It's like the difference between the silence between music and the music itself, because we need both. In order to understand the music, we have to understand the pauses between the notes. But here's the line that really touches me as a boomer walking this path with you. Ever desireless, one can see the mystery. Ever desiring, one sees only the manifestations. This isn't about giving up desire altogether. It's about loosening our grip and surrendering. Desire pulls us into what we think we should be doing or having, but when we become still, when we release the need to be somewhere, something else emerges, the mystery, the grace, and the presence. And finally, the mystery itself is the doorway to all understanding. It's not logic, it's not planning, it is not pushing. It's the mystery, the space between the words, the breath between the thoughts, the quiet presence of someone you love, both seen or unseen, and somewhere, somehow, they're still in our hearts and maybe in this room. This is not the Tao you'll find in books. It's the Tao that appears in your morning coffee. It's the Tao that you see in your doggy or cat's eyes, or in somebody that you're talking to in their eyes. And it's the way that grief softens the memory. So let us think about this. So today, let's not rush to define anything. Let us try to live a little more namelessly. You are not your job. You are not your diagnosis, your name, your title, or even your pain. You are part of something mysterious and eternal. The more you soften into it, the more it welcomes you home. So, where in your life right now can you let go of naming and simply be? Sit quietly for 5 minutes and say silently, I do not need to understand. I will let the mystery hold me. So, the link to the Dear Boomers community is in the description below. And if you touched this, if this touched you, please subscribe to the channel and look at the videos that come through this particular video. Love to you all. This is the beginning. We're doing this for 80 days. Love, love, love. Bye.